Sairam Amir, Sairam Anmeri, Sairam Shriyesh. All right. Sairam Pranjal, Sairam Nandini. So, Sairam Manjul, let us join our hands, close our eyes, and we'll have three Omkarams and then we'll start. Om. 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 Sairam. Now, what we shall do, we shall have a quick look at the previous poem, that is, A Thing of Beauty is a Joy Forever. We shall devote, let us say, 5 to 10 minutes for that poem. And after that poem, we'll go to next poem, that is Keeping Quiet. Right. So, let us start with the previous poem and see what it has to say. And then, after having a quick look at this poem, we'll have a revision sort of thing. And then we'll move to the next one. I'll share my screen with you and show you what I want to show you.
Poem 4. A Thing of Beauty, about the poet John Keats, who lived between 1795 and 1821, was a British romantic poet. Although trained to be a surgeon, Keats decided to devote himself wholly to poetry. Keats' secret, his power to sway and delight the readers, lies primarily in his gift for perceiving the world and living his moods and aspirations in terms of language. The following is an excerpt from his poem, Endymion, a poetic romance. The poem is based on a Greek legend in which Endymion, a beautiful young shepherd and poet who lived on Mount Latmos, had a vision of Cynthia, the moon goddess. The enchanted youth resolved to seek her out, and so wandered away through the forest and down under the sea. Before you read, what pleasure does a beautiful thing give us? Are beautiful things worth treasuring? Now, the poem. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of despondence, of the inhuman dearth, of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways made for our searching. Yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty must moves away the pall from our dark spirits, from our dark spirits. Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boom. Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boom for simple sheep. Page 99. And such are daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. The mid forest brake, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. And such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. All lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring onto us from the heaven spring. Rills means small streams. Brake means a thick mass of ferns. Think it out. Number one, list the things of beauty mentioned in the poem. Number two, list the things that cause suffering and pain. Number three, what does the line, therefore are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to earth, suggest to you? Number four, what makes human beings love life in spite of troubles and sufferings? Number five, why is grandeur associated with the mighty dead? Number six, do we experience things of beauty only for short moments? Or do they make a lasting impression on us? Or do they make a lasting impression on us? Number seven, what image does the poet use to describe the beautiful bounty of the earth? Notice the consistency in rhyme scheme and line length. Also notice the balance in each sentence of the poem, as in, of noble natures of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over-darkened ways, made for our searching, yes, in spite of all. Page 98.
There is one more presentation that I would like you to go through, and let us see. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. From Endymion, Book 1. What it talks about life is time, changes, finite love, decay, death, desperation, despondence, inhuman, gloomy, unhealthy, dark, fall of suffering and sorrow. About nature, what does it talk? It is eternal, it is changeless, it is perfection, beautiful, enjoyable, truth, happiness, boundless, heavenly. That's a daffodil flower. Human life is characterized by time, changes, finite love, decay, death, nature, art is equal to eternity, changeless, happiness, beauty, truth, a thing of beauty, nature is an expression of beauty, beauty and truth, beauty. Beauty is truth and truth, beauty. Nature has an aesthetic function. It's a balm on all human problems, brings in cheer, can be found all around us. Hence, man tries his best to connect with that which provides him happiness even in his sorrow. Keats belonged to a literary movement called Romanticism, wrote about transience of life, contrasted it with the permanence of nature. Transience is shifting, changing, contrasted with the permanence of nature. Nature is permanent. Keats' important poems are related to or grow directly out of inner conflicts, inner human conflicts. When we talk about imagery, drew his images from among our physical sensations sight, hearing, taste, touch, smell, and movement, repeatedly combines different senses in one image. That is, he attributes the traits of one sense to another, a practice called synesthesia. His synesthetic imagery performs two major functions in his poems: creates a sensual effect. This combining of senses, normally experienced as separate, suggests an underlying unity of dissimilar happenings, the oneness of all forms of life. Fair musk rose blooms. And such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. He was a sensual poet, focused on this vivid concrete imagery, portrayal of the physical and the passionate, on his preoccupation of the here and now. Praised for his seriousness and thoughtfulness, for his dealing with the difficult human conflicts and artistic issues, and for his impassioned mental pursuit of truth in all face of tremendous physical and mental suffering. All poems should do without any comment. That's it. Now coming to next one. I stop presenting and we'll come to the next poem. Next poem is again very interesting, and it's by a Nobel laureate. Nobel laureate in the sense that he won Nobel Prize for such type of writing. It's a very small poem, not having much of essence sense, in the sense that you don't have to strain too much to understand this poem. Let us see what it has to say.
Those who prepare green war.
All right, I'll present it again. Now I'll read the poem once, and you need to listen to it very carefully, and you need to comment on what did you understand by this poem in the comment section. Then I'll share my screen and I'll show you something. Here I start. Now we'll count to 12 and we'll all keep still. For once on the face of earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We'd all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivor, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is all about. I want no truck with death. If we were all not so single minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps Earth can teach us when everything seems to be dead and later proves to be alive. I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet, I'll go. That's it. All right. So now it's for you. Come on, just share what you understood. Just type 1 2 words, whatever you understood from in the comment section. One comment has come, waiting for others. Second is also there by Astha. First is by Priyanchu, second by Astha, third by Manjul, fourth by Anne-Marie, fifth Nandini, there are 42 students. I got 5 comments, waiting for others. One word, one line, anything that you got about the poem. Got stuck. Fifth, yes. Sixth, Alima. Seventh, Shreyas. Eighth, Ayush. Ninth, Suryansh. 10th, Deepesh. 11th, Poonam. 12th, Tisha. Then 13th, Pranjal. 14th, Hardik. 15th, Velga. 16th, Nivedita. 17th, Anjali. 18th, Anurag. And 19th, Govind. 19th, Govind. Out of 42, 19, 41, 42. Niyati. 20th. Niyati is 20th. All right, fine. I'll read out all and let us see. All right. So the first one says relaxing nature of poem which gives relief as we are asked to keep quiet. Life is about moving constantly. Life is about finding yourself. Life is about finding yourself. The poet wants time to stop for a moment just to experience the silence's beauty. Beauty of silence. All right, wonderful. Comparison of life with earth may be related to peace of mind. The quieter you become, more you are able to hear. Fine, wonderful. Nature do not want air and sound pollution. Earth can teach us. No noise can unnecessarily, no noise, no unnecessary movement. What wants us to take out some time from our busy lifestyle, talking without saying something. Yes, wonderful. Life is all about quiet. Smarter you are, the lesser you speak. Pollution in earth. Life is about peace of mind. Realization on lives. Earth can teach us. Earth can teach us. Then poet says, we'll count till 12 and we'll keep quiet and they will not speak in any language. Nature wants to be given to give a person healthy. We have to save our nature. Life is about finding ourselves. Peace of mind is life. Peace with ourselves and others. Life is about calmness, which we do not realize sometimes. Earth also have emotions. All right. I'll read it once again. Listen to it for the second time, then we'll go for explanation. Now, I'll count up to 12 and we'll all keep still. For once on the face of earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for a second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We'd all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in cold sea would not harm the whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps Earth can teach us when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I'll go. Any new revelation, any new fact that addition in your comments? Yes. Life is lost somewhere between rush, wonderful. What happens if everything will be quiet is much better, even better. Need of maintaining peace and silence, yes, wonderful. That is also great. And that's it. All right, let us see what it has to say. Right. This audio track is from second stanza somewhere. So first stanza is lost. We'll listen to the second stanza onwards and then we'll go for video. Yes, we have become so busy that we have forgotten the real peace. Very right, very right. You got the essence of it. And now I'll share my screen first and then
Wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12, and you keep quiet, and I will go. To have no track with, to refuse to associate or deal with, to refuse to tolerate something. Page 96. Think it out. 1. What will counting up to 12 and keeping still help us achieve? 2. Do you think the poet advocates total inactivity and death? 3. What is the sadness that the poet refers to in the poem? 4. What symbol from nature does the poet invoke to say that there can be life under apparent stillness? Page 97. Try this out. Choose a quiet corner and keep still physically and mentally for about 5 minutes. Do you feel any change in your state of mind? Notice the differing line lengths of the stanzas and the shift in thought from stanza to stanza. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean.
is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just we'll go through it. We'll see it once and see what it has to say. Now we'll count up to 12 and we'll keep it still. For once on the face of earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move around so much. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. would all be together in sudden will all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the state, in shade, doing nothing. Perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps Earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves out to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I'll go. It's basically an anti-war poem. Poet is deeply concerned about violence, cruelty to animals, and plight of manual workers. The poet offers a very simple solution to many of our social, political, and religious problems. The solution is self-introspection. If it is acted upon, it will be the first major step towards uniting people. The second step is that everyone should look within and analyze what is wrong, who is wrongdoer. This will cleanse every heart and ennoble all people. The poem advocates importance of silence and self-introspection. It can transform not only the life of an individual but also the face of the earth. The poet says that it does not need much time to look within and examine oneself. It will take only as long as it will take up to count 12. Take to count up to 12. During this time of introspection, one should keep quiet and say nothing at all. It will give him a strange feeling of togetherness with all others. Although it may seem a little strange in the beginning, it will eventually bring us all together. The silence will be free from the disturbing sounds of engines and people rushing to get their work done for some time. He feels contented imagining the change that will be brought about in those moments. The men who are hurt, the men who hurt their hands while collecting salt will get a little rest. Even the people who seek fresh wars using fatal gas and weapons, maybe Corona 19 also, using fatal gas and weapons will put one's clean clothes and get a chance to walk among their brothers. This will lead a hatred free, calm life, giving halt to their destructive activities. The poet clarifies that this wish should not be considered as a case for total inactivity. He only wants to interrupt the sad, cruel, and baleful activities of the world for a few moments and make the people introspect their actions. In fact, what he says is connected with life, not with death. Activity is very essence of life, inactivity is death, but for a fresh, better, and useful activity, a little stillness is essential. The poet uses the image of earth to show how life exists in seemingly dormant things. In winter, the earth becomes so still and silent that it seems to be dead. When they are talking about winter, it is winter in England. Here we can say summer. Not even a single blade of grass is green. Everything seems to be totally dry. But later, from that dry land also, parched land also, green grass sprouts. But later in spring, it seems to be lively again. It has new beauties and colors added to it. Similarly, after a little quietness and silence, man can resume his activities in fresh and better manner. That's it. And there's one more. That's the author. It's a poem. It's a Spanish poem. Therefore, it is written in Spanish. Even the translation is different. See, some words. Instead of strange, it will be a strange moment. They have the translation is delicious moment. Engines, instead of engines, it is locomotives. Since the original poem is in Spanish, Many people they translated it in English. This is a different version. See the traffic. Do you think people would understand themselves better or be less violent if the world and life was quieter? It's about Pablo Neruda. 1971 he won Nobel Prize for Literature. 1973. That's all about this one. And now I'm coming back. All right. Well, so that is what I wanted to share with all of you about this poem, Keeping Quiet. Right. Now we shall have the explanation also. And when we have the explanation of the poem, let us see what it says. I'll stop after every stanza. Now I'll count up to 12 and we'll all keep still. For once on the face of earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We'd all be together in sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in shade doing nothing. Here we can add in the present context those who prepare green wars, those who prepare COVID war also we can say, right? Releasing a virus and the entire world is in threat, is being threatened. Well, I would like to share one more information with you. Are you all there?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Ah,
sir.
Yes, sir.
what I want to share with you is that today I got the consolidated data of how many states are planning to open the schools, and let me tell you that hardly there are any schools those who are prepared to school those who are prepared to open the schools in the month of August. So July is also gone, August also there is no hope. The earliest is September first week. That is also some states are saying that they will try to open it in September first week. Madhya Pradesh has not taken any decision at all. So we may not be able to meet for next another 40-50 days. So September or October, the schools will open somewhere in September, October. Long time that we have to spend. It's very sad. Yes, it's very sad. But what to do? What to do? We are left with no choice. That is how we'll have to continue. Right. So those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in shade doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. No truck with death is explained here. That means do not associate it with death. Refuse to tolerate something. refuse to associate with death, right? So he doesn't want everybody to become dead. I want no truck with death. If we are not so single minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps Earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I'll go. Right. The theme we have already discussed that it is about introspection, finding out the truth from within and bearing with that truth. That is what is the theme of the poem. Right. If you have any questions, you can type Q and ask me. If you have understood, type Y. Y, 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 Y. Yes, most of you have understood, and there is no question. Nobody has asked a question. So that's it. We'll have Shanti part and we'll close. Join your hands, close your eyes. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram.